Everybody, got another battle report for you today. More World War II action. This time with Blitzkrieg Commander. Set of rules tabletop gamer kind of introduced me to. Had a game the other night, and today I'm putting together a full-fledged battle. Today we're featuring a battle. The scenario is called Encirclement. 2,000 points aside. Actually, after some die rolling, it's actually 2,500 points of Americans and 2,200 points of Germans. And the Germans are the defender deployed over here on this side of the table. And it's the encirclement scenario, which means the Germans have to get 25% or more of their forces off that table edge. The Americans deploying on the short sides of the table, also this one, which they did deploy on. They got their commanding officer there, and they've got a headquarters unit deployed here, which I'll show you how that works in a minute. And on the other side of the table, they have another headquarters. So they're going to be coming on both edges in a pincer motion to kind of flank from both sides of the Germans as they come up the middle of the board. Without going into too much detail with the rules, let's see if I can just describe my deployment. I'm playing the Germans again today. I have two formations, which are basically the equivalent of small battalions. This section over here, which includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 platoons of tanks, Panzer IVs, 3 of them, a Stu 42, and a platoon of Stugs, and 2 platoons of infantry with Panzerfausts, so they got anti-tank abilities coming up the road. Each one of these half tracks has a platoon of infantry in it. And for the other battalion, we have 2 platoons of Panzer Grenadiers, again in their half tracks, not deployed yet. That's the commanding officer of the formation, and there's also 4 platoons of tanks in this battalion. Again, Stu 42s, Stugs, 1 Panther platoon, the only Panthers I have on this side, in this battle formation, and battle group I should say. Gotta get used to these terms and this set of rules. And a platoon of Panzer IVs on top of the hill, overlooking the village. And as I said, the Americans have their deployment markers here. They're actually headquarters units. And what's going to happen is the Americans are going to roll dice to see how well they come on from this point, measured from that marker, that headquarters. And they'll come on, and it looks pretty nasty here. They're going to come on my flank early in the game, so it's going to hurt. But we'll see what happens. And again, there's the layout of the table. And the objective is for the Germans to get as many of their forces off that table edge over there as they can, or secure that side of the table, that third of the table over there. They do that with 3 infantry platoons and a headquarters or commanding officer, and the game will go one more turn after that. If I still have it, none of them are suppressed, I have control of that side, the game ends. Otherwise, I have to get 25% or more of my troops, my units, off that table edge. So for the Americans, coming on both sides here, they have to either take me to my break point, which is 50% of my units destroyed or more, or get a minor victory by causing 25% casualties on my force. Recon units, headquarters units, and soft-skin vehicles, of which I don't have any, are not counted as units. And the break point for the Germans actually is quite low. I think 25% is 4. So if I lose 4 units, I could lose. That would be 25%. Otherwise, I think it's 7. And that's when half my force is destroyed, and got to start making break tests from that point. And that's when the game will end. Other than that, the game will last 12 turns. So it's a pretty fast-moving game. Pretty exciting. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that's the German deployment anyway. The Americans are going to deploy onto the board. I will show that at the end of the next turn, and wish me luck, folks. Here we finished game turn 1. Well, the Germans were first, actually. I thought it was the Americans, but it was the Germans first. So they basically got their battalion on the end there to start moving up along the road. down here. They kind of hustled up, brought some of their tanks over the crest of that hill, turned around, because they knew these guys were coming. They did during their turn. The rest of the formation moved up along the road, trying to get as far as they can to the other side, deep into the enemy side of the board. And then, wouldn't you know it, my commanding officer tried to activate this battalion and failed. So they did nothing, including those 2 platoons of infantry, Panzer Grenadiers. So that's the situation. The Americans were next. They brought this battalion in. It's a bunch of Shermans. They've got 2 75s down here. They got a Stuart platoon down here, a Stuart up here, and 3 platoons of 76s up there that moved up. This Panzer IV took an opportunity shot at one of these 76s that moved up, and as a result got a excess hit on him, which is going to be disregarded now because the turn's over. But that's it. Okay, we're going to go to the next turn. Okay, it's the bottom of the German turn 2. The Americans are about to take their turn 2. Over here the Germans hustled across the road once again. These Shermans down here took some opportunity shots at that one Panzer IV tank platoon crossing the hedge. They got some rear shots on them and didn't manage to destroy it. Put 2 hits on them, no suppression. That's about it. So they got across, they deployed their infantry and an anti-tank gun in that little open field over there. They still got a Stug and another platoon of Panzer Grenadiers moving up in the half-track around the other side of the field. And down here we got the commanding officer. He finally got his troops off their ass. We got those 2 platoons of Panzer Grenadiers through that gap just behind them, moved them up on the road. They're trying to get to this gap up here and either that or go inside the village, take up a defensive position. If they can get within that third of the table over there, which is about 18 inches, and I think that's right about it to here, by the end of the game, if they could keep 3 infantry units in there that aren't suppressed, and a headquarters or commanding officer, they can gain a minor victory. So those infantry are going to be crucial. And they've got 4 platoons of infantry, 4 units basically. They moved up their Panther and Stugs up to the hedge. This one's still holding the position here to opportunity shoot in the American turn if they manage to come on, which I failed to note that in the last turn both of those headquarters and commanding officer there, you can see them. There's one right there and one down there. That one down there is the American commanding officer, but they both failed to bring on any troops, so they're still on their way to the battlefield to complete this pincer move from both sides. So alright, that's the end of German turn 2. Americans finished American turn 2. Started off with this headquarters down here for this American Sherman battalion, and they failed. So they failed their command roll and did nothing. Of course, there's the Germans. And on this side, however, started off with this battalion headquarters. They passed their command test and started to roll on to the field here, right up to the road. This little line at the hedge of Germans took opportunity fire on some of the tanks that came in. These 2 Shermans, in fact, were carrying troops, paratroops, as tank riders, and as they took hits, they were forced to dismount from the tanks, suppressed. So that's what those little red markers are for. That shows suppression. That's what I'm using right now, anyway. That Stuart came in, he got suppressed. So yeah, the Stugs and the Stug and the Panther that fly some shells. Nothing was destroyed, just a little suppression on the paratroopers, and I moved down the board, and I can see the Shermans getting ready to cross this hedge. This should be down here. In their next turn, get across on the road or get over this side, and it's going to threaten the flank of the German tanks. So it's a little bit of a risk. He took a shot, of course. I didn't forget him. I almost did. Kind of camouflaged in the tree line there. In fact, I think he's the one that took out or suppressed the Stuart. And the commanding officer, his force, also passed his command roll. It's a 9 or less with before modifiers. I got a Greyhound up there across the hedges. It's in the road now. And 2 Sherman 105s moved up. And that's where we are. So, see what happens. German turn 3 coming up. Okay. Germans finished their turn 3. Let's see what happened. Alright. First one to activate was that headquarters down there for that battalion. They moved down there. And he managed to get his troops in action. And they're beginning to pull back. That Panzer IV pulled back a little bit. I think they only activated once. They only passed one command test, so I did plan on shooting with him after he backed off a little bit. The Stug remained in position. So did the Panzer IV. I'm not sure if he took a shot down here or not. I'm sure if he did, he missed. And I got the infantry consolidating over there with the anti-tank gun and the half-track, the armored half-track Panzer IV. That's my command headquarters right there. And I pulled those way back because I'm planning to take them off the board. I only need to take 4 units off, and I'll have a major victory. It's a small battle. And so far, there's no Americans in sight over here. And that was it for them. My commanding officer, he already got these guys all hustling and bustling. These 2 half-tracks started to move up the road. The lead one got hit in the flank by that, where that little cloud of smoke is. That's how I mark units that take opportunity fire. It's a nice little reminder. But that 75mm Sherman took a shot in the flank of the half-track right when it was about to go through that gap. And got hit. Got suppressed, in fact, not destroyed, suppressed. I elected to take the infantry out and put them behind the hedge. I wanted to move them in the next command, but I failed it. And the other half-track moved up behind him, getting ready to cross the hedges and get into that field across the open space there. That's ideally what I want to do. I'm going to try and keep my infantry on the board as long as possible in case I can't get that major victory with getting troops off. His troops are still in position to come around my flank. I'm not too worried about that. I still got this Stug down here that will be able to see anything that crosses into the road there. So that's an opportunity shot if he decides to cross. My Panzer IV is a little too far away to do anything with. I want to try and get him off that hill and closer up to the action the next turn if I can. But yeah, there's the U.S. paratroops dismounted from their Shermans in the previous turn. Looks like they're moving up into that little farm area. Okay, we'll see what's going on. We're going to American turn 4 next. Okay, folks, be right back. And then end of American turn 3 has just been completed. Alright, down there in the far end, that battalion basically failed to do anything. So, there's not a lot going on there. The Americans haven't really been able to do much down there next to the Blue Cup. Their whole battalion is basically just sitting around, not able to engage the enemy too effectively. So yeah, they filled their command role. Down here we had more exciting action. The Americans actually did manage to get across this hedge with 1 tank, which was promptly ambushed by that Panzer IV up in the woods. So he got taken out. Came in handy. Oops, sorry for that blur. Otherwise, they only got about as far up to that on the other side of the hedge so far. Those 2 Shermans. These Shermans down here. This one was suppressed, so couldn't do anything. But the other 2 were able to fire on the Panther and the Stug, and didn't do anything. And as you can see over there, there were some opportunity shots taken by the Panther and the Stug in return. The Stuart hustled behind that building, trying to draw some fire, some opportunity fire from the Stug, which he didn't fall for. Paratroops are slowly moving into the woods. They got to get themselves some transport, I think. And yeah, that Stug there was taken out. I don't know if that happened this turn or the last turn. I think it just happened here. But, So there was some effective American fire. And the commanding officer down here with his small detachment, with the Greyhound up on the hill, finally moved way up there, recon unit. The 105 Sherman moved up around the other side of the hill over here, getting ready to ambush anything that comes through that gap. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get any shots off. The commanding officer's up there now. He was down here, so he hustled at the end of this turn all the way up there. So there should be some action next turn. This 105, on the other hand, he had some good rolls for command. He got a command bonus and was able to take 2 actions in his next turn. So he fired on that half track, I think like 3 times. There was a half track right here, and where it had unloaded the infantry. And it took a lot of heavy fire, started retreating, showed its rear, took another 105 shot in the rear, blew up. So that half track is out of commission, as you can see. So that's the turn. A little bit more effective for the Americans this turn. Pretty good. Alright, German turn 4 is coming up. Let's see what they can do. I don't know, folks. The Germans are down already 2 vehicles. The transport is ignored. But that tank... I thought there was 2. I thought I lost 2 vehicles. I guess I only lost 1. But the transport vehicle isn't counted for my 25% losses. But that one is. So if I lose 3 more tanks, the Germans are going to lose. So that's it. Alright. Next turn coming up. Okay, we just finished turn 4 for both the Germans and the Americans. For the Germans, they failed all their command rolls, so nothing happened for them. I'm not sure if they had any initiative actions. I don't think so. Somebody did. I think it was the Americans. So the Americans did their turn. They took a few shots in their initiative with those Shermans up there that were within 20 centimeters, I believe. They are normal tactical doctrine, so it's 20 centimeters. The Germans are flexible, which is 25. But in the Americans' turn, they did get this battalion in action. They managed to get the Stuart and the 76 Sherman up to the edge, and that's about it. And these Shermans right here, they just fired away on this Panther as much as they could. They just could not penetrate the armor. They did manage to suppress it, and this marker's off now. They did 1 hit. Couldn't manage to destroy that tank. So it was suppressed. That's about it. Which is good, actually. I mean, it means in the next German's turn, that tank can't do anything. And then the Command HQ, or the commanding officer was the next to activate. And that is a mistake, because once he's done activating that stuff and issuing commands, the whole turn is done, which means I completely forgot this battalion. I usually do them first or second, but I didn't, so I forgot. So these guys did nothing during the American turn because I forgot. So what I'm going to do, just to be fair, because of my negligence, I'm going to give them a +1 on their next command roll. Just to make it a little fair. These guys, I think, moved once in the game. So they're just not getting off their asses. Their headquarters is right here. Right there on top of the hill. So it's not like he's too far away to get guys doing things. He's just been rolling horrible. One thing up here, though. The commanding officer did, like I said, get this group in command. His little section of 2 105s and the Greyhound. The Greyhound got on the flank of that woods and that hill. He come off the hill and went on the flank of this woods. Took some shots at the infantry here. And they managed to take some damage, but not enough to kill them. They have 6 hits. They only took 2 during the turn. So the Greyhound's firepower, combined with that 105 over there, did about that much damage. Not much. The infantry is tough in this game. But the other 105 came up from around the hill to the top of the hill, took out that half track full of Panzer Grenadiers, and destroyed it. So that makes the infantry counts as one destroyed unit. This Stug, a second unit, and this is just a half track. That's doesn't count as a unit. So if the Germans lose 4, they're at 25% and will lose the game. They already lost 2. And that's the situation so far, so we'll see what happens next. Okay, folks, see you next turn. Okay, German turn 5 just came to an end. And as you can see, the Shermans took opportunity fire on my tanks. Of course, the Panthers still suppressed for this turn, so there's nothing going on there. But anyway, the Germans. This battalion up here just couldn't do anything. Failed their command roll once again. I'm trying to pull their stuff back, but I just can't get them back. So far, nothing going on down here on either side. But as far as the Germans, they advanced some of their infantry, as you can see there. Tried to get a Panzerfaust shot on that Greyhound with this unit here, but I failed the command roll to do it. And the most I can do is get them over this hedge and up into the position they're in and disembark from their half track, which is what they did. I got the other squad, or the other platoon, also up to this wall. They hopped the wall, and now they're on the edge of that woods there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, really. I want to get my troops off the table. So far, I've got nothing off the table. And unfortunately, some bad news as well. I've lost the Stug. I was not paying attention right here. My Stug that was sitting here decided to cross, and guess what happened? Opportunity fire. 3 Shermans, including the 76. They whacked him in the flank, side shot, side armor, and then they destroyed him. So I'm down 3 units, folks. The Americans are making a comeback here from a slow start in the beginning. The commanding officer is doing outstanding. He's getting a lot of things going on with this side over here, this battalion, and especially with his detachment of 2 105s and the Greyhound. Doing a lot with that. Yeah, that's what it is so far. So I don't know what's going to happen next. Americans are in a position to strike. I know that. I've yet to get anything off this table. So, see what happens next turn, folks. I'll be back. Okay, U.S. turn 5 just completed. No, I guess we should start down here because this is where I usually start if I don't forget. But yes, they activated. They lost a Stuart tank to that Panzer IV, which in reply, these 76 Shermans and one of these 75s returned fire on him. He was forced to withdraw. He is suppressed. So that's what happened to that tank. Up here, I managed to get my Stuart up and around that woods there, so they can't be seen. And that 76, and I believe this 76 down here at one point, took out that Panzer IV up there. So that's 5 German units taken out, which is more than their 25% amount. So right now, if the game was to end, it would be an American minor victory. So the game's almost half over, though, so there's still time. So they had a couple good command runs down here, and so that's good. The Americans are pushing back the Germans from the road. Over here, this battalion looks like they're breaking through, actually. They got through that hedge line. They're still dealing with this Panzer IV up here, who took an opportunity shot down here earlier. I think he took out that Sherman earlier. I don't know if it was this turn. But that Panther right there, that's pretty much suppressed. They're putting a lot of firepower down on that Panther, keeping him shut up, so he can't take opportunity shots at these guys crossing and whatnot. So those 3 Shermans, including one of them is a 76, putting a lot of firepower down on him, so he's suppressed. This tank is pretty far from his command, so he's not able to do much except take those opportunity shots or initiative shots. But yeah, the Americans are breaking through here. Doesn't look good for the Germans here either. Down in the center, well, the Greyhound was down here, pulled back up to the hill next to the Sherman 105, and they promptly put their firepower together and took out that Stug. So yeah, they've got this whole avenue of withdrawal for the Germans locked off. So it's not good for the Germans there either. They've got 2 infantry squads, or platoons rather, sorry. Used to play an I've shot mum. Still sitting there in the open. I don't know what's going to go on there. They don't have much support. Nothing close by. I'm hoping to do something with those Germans up in the field there. There's another Panzer IV and an anti-tank gun. Got to start getting troops off this table. I don't even control that sector yet. If I can control that half of the board over there. Not half, but that third of the board over there by having 3 infantry units and a headquarters or commanding officer over there, and none of them are suppressed. If I can do that, I will get a minor German victory, which at this point would be a draw because the Americans already have a minor victory. So right now that's what I'm aiming for. But if I can get 4 units off that table edge, I can get a major victory. So there's still hope. We'll see what happens. I guess we're going on turn 6, starting with the Germans. Let's see what they can do. Okay, folks, be ready. German turn 6. As you can see, I activated this one. Not activated, but successfully issued commands. I don't know how to put that right. Still new to the game. But yeah, this little battalion down here managed to get some command orders out and got that Panzer IV closer to the edge. I should have got him off the edge. The Stug pulled back, but got hit in the rear by that 105 up on the hill up there, so he got suppressed almost immediately. So that's what happened there. And that was it. Took a few shots with my anti-tank gun at these Shermans up here, who should have did some opportunity fire on these tanks falling back because they can't see them. For some reason I didn't, but I did that one up there, that 176 Sherman with the smoke marker in front of it. He did actually get a shot off on that Panzer IV. As you can see, it was ineffective. Over here, there's not much going on. I managed to get the German commanding officer over to that position so I can get some troops, successfully commanded and off the table as quickly as possible. Still got to deal with that 105 and Greyhound up on the hill. Still trying to maneuver my infantry in position. I put some in the half track, taking a risk there, but I'm going to try and get them off because otherwise, they're useless right now. That's a unit off the board. If I get it off the board, the half tracks don't count. So down here, nothing, just too far away. I couldn't do anything with these guys, the Panzer IV, the Panther. And I don't know, it looks like the Americans are going to really have a heyday in this next turn. Okay, that's it so far. Coming to the halfway point, my friends. American turn coming up. The end of U.S. turn 6. And quite a story. Americans did a real good job up here. As you can see, that Panzer IV is now totally gone. They advanced up the road after being pretty devastating up here, forcing my tanks, my stuff up here to make opportunity fires, so they were able to move up here unimpeded. These 76 Shermans in the hull down position on the cliff were really effective in this game. I mean, they just took turns. They were taking on that Panzer IV, and they took on that anti-tank gun, which put some shock on it. Or not shock, put some hits on it, which should be gone now. And took out that tank. Yeah. And of course, that Panzer IV trying to get off the table, he got hit, taken out. I believe that was from that 76 over here. Shot over the hedges and got him. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty effective for the Americans. Fate's sealed over here. All they have is an anti-tank gun, and some infantry holding out inside their half track. And that's about it. Over here, they got the infantry still on that half track. Haven't been able to get them off the table. The 105 and the Greyhound putting some suppression down on the infantry there in the woods, which didn't help things. That 105 moved up in the prime position. I think it actually took some shots at the infantry, added to the suppression. So the Germans don't have anything here. It's just the middle. It's just that suppressed infantry and that half track with some infantry in it. I have nothing off the board, so I can't even get 25% of my forces off the board. Panzer IV still up on the hill, too far away to do anything with. Panther. These Americans have just been putting a lot of firepower down, but actually I think they failed their first command roll of their turn and couldn't do anything. Heard troops in the woods still moving through there. Didn't really do anything. I thought about using my commanding officer for the US side to try and activate these guys after they failed. But the penalties, I mean, you get a -1 because it's a different formation. Normal tactical doctrine. So I'd have a -1 if I tried to do that. And plus the distance was another -1 or 2, I think, if I wanted to get all these tanks. So it'd be like a -3. -4 if I wanted to include that tank, which is part of his formation. He already took an action. That's what this little smoke marker is for, to show that he opportunity fired. But I didn't do it. So instead I just moved up his Sherman 105 and started shooting that 105 and that Greyhound. Doing what I can down here. That Stug, or that Panzer IV was taken out because of, that's how he got taken out. I was thinking it was from this battalion, but no, it was actually over here. That 105 took him out. Finished off the Stug. So yeah, that's the situation, folks. Now we're going to the start of the German turn. See what they can do. That's it. Germans started their turn, had to make a breakpoint test, and they failed. I think they needed a 6 or less, and failed with a 7. So that was that. In which case they left the battlefield. Oops, sorry. So that's the game. So yeah, this was like my second game. It was pretty good. I liked it. I played where each model or each stand represents a platoon, which is kind of different. I'm used to playing where it's like a squad or a single vehicle. But this was a nice change of pace. I mean, in Blitzkrieg Commander, you can play either way, where each piece equals either a squad or it represents a platoon. And if you want to have a bigger battle, represent bigger forces with fewer miniatures, that's the way to go. I mean, mine was just over 2,000 points, so it was, according to the rules, a relatively small game. So yeah, I could see how this can be used for big battles, lots of miniatures, even on a 6x4 table. It's perfect for micro scale gaming, like Tabletop's favorite. He's the one that kind of turned me on to these roles. I thought I'd give him a shot. And yeah, I like them. Well, what can I say? To me, they don't have a lot of tactical depth. There's a lot of abstraction in it. I kind of like the feeling of sitting in a tank and commanding a platoon of tanks. I like that feel. But this gives you a higher up feel, where you're commanding actually a battalion or a regiment or even a division. You know, the flame markers, incidentally, are for my own use. The game really says that once a vehicle is destroyed, you remove it from the table, and it doesn't block line of sight. I decide to leave them there because it looks better. Just ignore them when I check lines of sight. Not a big issue. Very simple set of rules. It's fast moving. It's a good set of rules. I think it really has a good feel for World War II combat. And its sister game, Cold War Commander, for modern gaming. You know, pretty good. As far as this battle is concerned, I would say I made a few mistakes here and there. nothing major. But the command rolls that you make at the start of the turn to see what your formations can do and how many things they can do in a turn, it's pretty nice. I like that. It adds some friction to the game, so you don't have total control over what your forces do, and I like that. That's one reason I like Encirclement, because of the friction. So yeah, pretty good game. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. You give it a try if you like the kind of games like I'm showing you here. It's easy to play. It uses a point system, so you can set up pickup games really easy. I think it's got well over a dozen scenarios. It's very well organized, and it's a nice change of pace. If you like Flames of War, I think you'd really enjoy this as well. Or Encirclement. Okay, folks, leave me some feedback on this. If you like what you see and would like to see more of this game played, maybe even have some instructional videos, I'd be happy to do it. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to put up more battle reports on this set of rules. Blitzkrieg Commander. So there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. I'm sure I'll be getting more battle reports up soon. Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.